Alright, I'm going to do a little quick video here. I'm going to freehand it because my stand's not down here. But I want to go over something real quick. A couple of things, or one thing in particular, about these three bars. The Samara, the Still Light, the Sugi bar, or the Husqvarna Light and all that. It's not the durability, it's not the steel that it's made out of, it's not the lightness, which all that stuff helps. But this bar has a bit of a downfall in my eyes, in a sense, versus like the Samara and the Still Light and even the Sugi. And, you know, I drill these oiler holes out if they're small, because the Samara comes already pretty big like that. I haven't drilled that. But the Still and the Cannon comes a little smaller. But one reason I drill them out is, of course, to try to get more oil in there. But another reason is to get it to where the driver can clean the sawdust out of the rail at the oiler hole. I noticed, which part of it was my fault, I drilled this and I had a burr the other day when I was cutting with it, or my last video on the trailer when I was cutting that cherry wood. It was oiling, but the saw wasn't oiling. Well, the bar wasn't oiling properly. The saw was oiling fine. I had a lot coming out the bottom, but I had a burr on the inside where I had drilled that, and it was the saw chips was hanging up there. But one reason I drill them is to get this driver, and I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can barely catch a glimpse of it. When it comes through the tooth there, you see it. I get that. I like to get them up so that driver can clear that sawdust, sits down low enough. And that's the flaw that this Cannon bar has. I took my bar dresser and I even took this down a little bit, because this chain before, it just wasn't catching a lot, or the driver barely, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it barely catches that. And that's after I've drilled it out. Like I say, the lighting ain't real good, but if you know, you know. But now that I've raised that, I can at least get that driver and somewhat of the hole to maybe knock that out. Before, it was way down here. And even, you know, before I took this bar dresser and knocked some of this down just a little bit, it was up higher than that, just barely. The teeny tiny tip was barely catching it. And you look on this like Samara bar, how close that is to the, to the rail. That's why I do that. And that's also why I pitch rub my saw a lot. I catch a lot of slack on my short videos here and there from people about pitch rubbing the saw, wanting to hear it, thinking it's bad or something like that. And I mainly do that after I buck quite a bit of wood, or I'm in a big buck or something like that, to try to clean these rails out so this hole don't get clogged up and the chain don't, so the chain gets oiled properly. That's why I pitch rub my saw, and that's one reason why I drill these holes out some bigger. Like this Samara here, and you can work around it on the Cannon just like I did, but it would be awesome. And some can look at it two different ways. You can look at it like, you know, you can look at it as you got more rail. You're not going to wear out the, so you can see that's not quite half, but pretty close. And so on and so forth. So you can look at it as you have more, maybe a taller rail where the bar will last longer. But honestly, yeah, because this Cannon Dura-Lite is wider than the Samara. But honestly, to me, you know, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if it was a little narrower at the tail. They start to taper. The Cannon bar tapers right back here, but it would be sweet if it would taper a little more right here, like this bar does. That way the tooth would sweep that out, and like the steel, it tapers back too. It swoops back, starts to swoop back at the oiler hole, where this one would be awesome if it swooped back at the oiler hole a little bit. And that would let that tooth get down in that, you know, that would let the tooth get in that, or the driver rather, keep those chips cleaned out a little better. And, you know, I noticed I had a burr because on one side this bar, and like these other Cannon bars that I drilled have done pretty well. But on this 562, I noticed every time I turn around, it was, didn't seem like it was oiling right. And the 562s, all the Husky saws I've ever run oil really well. You know, unlike some of the Stihl models, just saying, I mean, it's the truth. 400C and 362 to me is a little under oiled for the oiler. But anyway, you know, I've never had a problem with the Husky, and it just seemed like it wasn't putting out like it should. I come back and checked it, and I had a burr on the inside that I didn't clean up. And I also raised these up a little higher because I didn't check these for the deal. And like I say, I took this bar dresser, and I didn't take a ton of material off, but I did take a couple swipes off of it just to try to lower it up some on both sides. That way that driver, the tip of the driver, can keep that maybe cleaned out a little better. But that's why I pitch rub my saw, and that's why I drill these holes. One, to get a little more oil, because I just don't think that, I don't think I've drilled this one. Well, like the 325 bars got it, but like on some Stihl bars, I don't know if I've got a Stihl bar that's not drilled. Like, but some of the Stihl-Lite bars, really have a small hole. I think I've already drilled this one too. Yeah, I have. To me, they don't have a big oiler hole. Like, that bar there is for 325 setup, and it's got a oiler hole just like comes with the Samara, and the Sugi, and the Husqvarna Light Tough. All have that same concept. These have the hole like the Stihl-Lite does. I need to get rid of some boxes where some sauce came in. I'm trying to find a bar that possibly may have I've drilled every one I've got. But, you know what? I think most of you know what I'm talking about. If not, go look at a new still light bar, unless they changed them in the last little bit. It'll have a teensy-leensy little hole. So, anyway, just wanted to share that with y'all. And that's why I pitch rub my saw some, for those that wonder. And some to check and see if it's oiling and all that kind of stuff as I'm cutting. And that kind of thing. And why I drill these. So that's a little bit of, these Cannon Dura-Lite bars are pretty decent bars, it seems like. I run this one quite a bit, and I've had a ton of issue with it. As far as me thinking it's floppier, like I thought the other ones, like the other two I had was a little floppier. But I will say it seems like the paint comes off these a whole lot easier than the last bars that I had, which, eventually a bar will wear the paint off of them. These still light bars do really, really good about not getting the paint wore off them, but I don't know if it's just the paint is a lower quality or the bars, the whole bar is a lower quality. It looks the same, so I'd say it's not a problem. But, for what these bars cost, you think that, to me, they would be a little better. That's my gripe about them. I don't have a problem with them. They're a good bar. Just in a way, I'll run the two I got or three I've got or whatever. I just don't think they're worth $200+. So anyway, well, when you can get something like this or something like the Husky X Tough Light or Sugi bar or whatever for half the price, and you're probably going to get about the same wear out of it. The tips may be a little better in these than they are the Samuras, and the temper may be a little better on these than the Husky X Tough Light. I've heard they used to heat treat them all individual, and now they stack them or some crap. I have no idea, and they're a little more brittle, but still yet you can buy two of those bars for the price of this. So anyway, and tips, I don't know what tips cost, but even if you had to put 3 or 4 tips in it, but we'll see how these last. I don't know. Like I say, I haven't put a ton of runtime on them, but I'm fixing to. I've run this one quite a bit, but not a lot. This is the saw that Aaron imported for me, and I don't know that I've got maybe only 3 or 4 or 5 tanks through it, something like that. Maybe not even that many. I honestly don't know. I quit keeping up. Maybe 3 or 4, 5, something like that. 5 at the most. But anyway, we'll catch y'all later. Just wanted to share that.